Hi, this is Ben from 561 Music Podcast. Right now, we're trying to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. It just helps us get out there more. It also enables us to monetize the podcast, to make it better, do more advertising for it and things like that. Subscribe to the podcast and hit the notifications button. That would be doing us a really big favor. Thank you very much. Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben, and unfortunately there's no Hector today. He is still feeling under the weather. We didn't do one of them last week because we were both sick, actually. And in retrospect, we probably could have got Ricky or Rocky or both of those guys to run it for us, but we weren't thinking straight, so we didn't do it. So we took a week off last week. But I have recovered, and sadly Hector has not. So if you were out there and good at sending vibes into the universe, then send Hector some healthy vibes. We had a pretty fun weekend last weekend. We played at Crazy Horse Saloon on Friday, which was, I didn't know what to expect. I've never drunk in there, and I showed up and it's kind of this sort of hole in the wall sort of bar. I didn't know what it was going to be like. But it turned out amazing. We had a really, really good time. A ton of people came to see us, and it was a riot. So I can very much, if you want to go and see a good gig, go and see one at the Crazy Horse Saloon down in Palm Beach Gardens. It was a good laugh. And then on Saturday, James and I played at the Square Grouper. We do a duo thing there, and that was fun, always is. And then in the evening, we did an LMC kind of special event with Justin's band Euphoria and Killbillies played last. But then we also had a couple of LMC bands. We had the Inflammators and Revelations, and I thought everyone played really well. It was a good time. It was nice to do something that was a little bit sort of lower pressure than usual too. We got to play one set and just kind of hang out and have a good time. So yeah, had a pretty fun weekend, all things considered. So we've got Lybica with us this week. How's it going, guys? We got Justin and Doug.
Good. We're stoked to be here.
Doing great, and I'd like to hijack this immediately based on what you were just talking about.
Yes, for sure.
We were just at Crazy Horse.
We just had a beer there, just like
we got here
half hour
super
ago.
duper early, and we went straight there. So.
Oh, cool.
So
never been there before. There, we looked it up, and we're like, it's either Duffy's or Crazy Horse. Let's go to Crazy Horse.
Yeah, I don't know if there was anyone playing, but when we played there on the weekend, it was a riot. It was just filled up, and everyone was having a good time.
People were setting up; they were just about to play, and the drummer had a pretty rock kit.
Yeah, it was
a rack and
everything.
everything.
It looked cool.
He had one of those tiny little mini toms over there. So,
yeah.
There was
nice sparkle, kind of like a dark champagne sparkle kit. It was nice.
So you guys all know this because you're drummers, but what are rototoms? What are those?
Ooh, that's the little trio of drums of the rototoms.
Sometimes duo.
Do they like spin or something like that? Why are they
no,
called
they're just like it's like just the ring and a head.
You can spin them though. And that's how you can tune them up and down pitch.
Yeah.
So you can literally take them and just like almost spin them like I don't even know what, like a frisbee or something.
Yeah,
and then like the pitch will go up or down.
Oh,
so that's how it's
cool.
weird.
You can also they also have lugs to tune it that way too, but it's both. And they're very high pitched. It's pretty cool. They sound cool.
And we've absolutely, without shame, both owned rototoms.
Oh yeah, I have 2 sets actually right now.
Actually, my shame is that I don't have them anymore.
You can have one of mine then.
Every now and again I hear people talking about them. I just didn't even know what they were. So I appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Something that we do on the show is we sort of dive into how you came into becoming a musician. We like to sort of talk about your past history and your upbringing and stuff like that. So why don't we start with you, Justin? Were your parents supportive of you musically when you were young?
Oh my God, so supportive. I mean, being a drummer, you have to be supportive because I literally chose the loudest instrument and,
Yeah, really.
and most disruptive to
My
the
brother
house.
played drums.
Yeah, so were you constantly just like annoyed like crazy when he was playing?
Well,
them?
I was good because I played electric guitar, and he and I just used to jam
Okay.
from dawn to dusk every single day.
Because my sister somehow put up with it, which was
Yeah.
crazy. That I was playing, in the basement and making all this noise, and then she was just like, "Okay, well, I just have to stop my life for like his hour a night that he gets to play, and be
For real.
miserable." So she put up with it, which is amazing. And my
I know
parents
that
put up with it.
neighbors. I know that our neighbors weren't particularly happy, but outside of that, it was all good. Our house was very noisy when I was growing up, so
Yeah, and when you're the drummer, you often have band practice at your house too. So not only do your
Mhm.
parents have to put up with you playing and practicing, and I was always super driven to practice on my own,
That's excellent.
but we had to have band practice, with a loud, like, okay, not only was I playing drums, I was playing metal drums. And
How old were you when you picked up the drums?
I think I was 13 when I started drumming.
Okay, that seems, with rock instruments, it very often is around 12, 13. That's when I started playing the guitar.
Yeah.
But prior to that, did you have any kind of musical training of any kind of sort?
I played, my first instrument was actually viola, in which was the first one that I played. And then I think it was because you had to choose a string instrument, like whatever first year of school. I think only string instruments were offered or something. I
Okay.
can't remember exactly why. But then the next year, it opened up to everything else, and I chose trumpet, and I played trumpet for years. And then,
nice.
and then eventually switched to drums and sold
By which time you could already read music and stuff, which I'm sure was helpful.
Kind of, yeah. I wasn't great, but I sort of could, rhythmically at least. And then
Yeah.
I sold my trumpet for my first double bass pedal, and I was off and running for that.
Good call.
Thus closing the door to any accidental ska bands you may have found yourselves.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think there was a huge ska scene where I was, but I might have accidentally.
Yeah,
stepped on one.
where did you grow up?
In Connecticut,
In
just
Connecticut.
outside Hartford. So
Gotcha.
lots of hardcore bands, like tons back in the 90s. So I just suddenly got into that and the metal scene pretty quickly.
Oh, cool. So, sort of prior to the kind of things you're doing these days, have you been in a whole ton of different bands and stuff like that?
Not really a ton, because I was in the first band, the first real band I was ever in high school. I was in for like almost 10 years.
Right.
And it was 10 years of banging our head against the wall, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one really cared. And then after that, I was in a band called Blood Has Been Shed, which was a metal band, and then that kind of led into Killswitch, and that's pretty much it. Apart from just like some random fill-ins for other bands, but.
Yeah, well, we'll get into Killswitch in a bit, but I just want to go over to Doug there and ask you about how was your upbringing when it comes to music? Were you supported, and like what kind of music were your parents listening to when you were young, stuff like that?
I was pretty lucky because my grandfather was a drummer, and he played swing and jazz, so I would come down here to visit from up north every summer, and we would just set up the drums immediately and put on all the old records, and he would just tell me what to do. So I got those lessons like as a kid, probably like 5-6 years old, till I was about 12 or 13. And then when he passed away, I got his drum kit, which was a nice like 1960s Rogers kit, really
nice.
old, and like just I still have it too. And so I was about, I think 15 or 16 when I got that kit, and that's when I really discovered like punk rock and hardcore and stuff like that, and just started going at it.
Yeah.
And just really, my parents were supportive because my mom grew up around it with her father, and my dad was cool with it. So I would just always, and as he said, practice is always at the drummer's house, so I'd always have my friends over, always jamming and just playing, till we'd cut it at a decent hour, but it was just every day it was happening.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
just
my mom was classic rock kind of stuff, and so I listened to a lot of that. My dad, he listened to a lot of different stuff, jazz, and kind of, he was from the island, so he kind of listened to some more islandy type music, which was cool. A little influence of everything in there, which is pretty cool.
And you have a pretty wicked hand-me-down record collection too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I also got my grandfather's records, which I have so many crazy old jazz records and swing and stuff and big band. And my mom gave me her record collection. A couple of other people gave me their collections. I have about like 500-600 records that are all pretty cool.
I'd love to check them out sometime.
Yeah,
That's really interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's great. So we're here sort of primarily to talk about Lybica, and Could you tell me a little bit about the formulation of the band and how it came about?
Yeah, we kind of, me, Doug, and Joey, our other guitar player in the band, I don't know, we became friends years ago and just hung out a whole bunch and like went to some show. I would see you guys play a bunch.
I think it really started with you and I drunk talking about
probably drunk talking,
playing in a band where we didn't play drums.
Yeah,
it was kind of like the infancy of that, and then it was the three of us, talking about it.
Yeah, because once you get together with your music friends, you always kind of talk about playing together, and you talk about what music you guys like and what you have in common and everything. So we had those conversations and everything. But you know how oftentimes they go nowhere, and it's all just sweet, beautiful drunk
Sounds
talk.
good.
Yeah, totally.
But
the amount of those conversations I've had over the years is just staggering.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I should have jammed with 1,000 people and just never did.
Yeah, totally.
But then COVID hit, and nothing else to do. So it was almost like, okay, well, it's either going to happen now, or it's going to be in that list of connections that are just never going to happen. And since we all lived so close together, it was really easy to just get together and
Where
some
are
ideas.
you guys all based at the moment?
Fort St. Lucie, Fort Pierce. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So super close.
I feel like there's a music scene up there which is sort of subtly different to down here. There's, I mean, it would be just because it's slightly different people. I mean, it's just gonna be. But that kind of hardcore scene up there is great and everything. There's a lot of heads up there. Feels like I don't know. A lot of the people who I know who come from that direction have really interesting takes on things. There's some great bands coming out of the Treasure Coast. It's a cool spot. So COVID hit and you started the band. What was the decision to go with no vocals?
It's kind of something I've always been really into. I have I love a lot of instrumental bands. I have some of my favorite music is and even bands that aren't necessarily instrumental bands that have just some super long sections of music that without vocals I've always really loved.
Like that song Arpeggiator by Fugazi is like one of my favorite Fugazi songs, and that's just
and even like Orion by that's like an awesome song. But there's like tons of that music, and it just seems to be, I don't know, it seems to be a little easier to find now. I mean, everything's easier to find now, but there are just a bunch of bands that I was way into, and
have you got any names you could throw out there just in case anyone's listening?
There's a few of them. There's
Caspian's probably my
Pelican, Russian Circles. There's quite a few. Explosions in the Sky.
Yeah, and even in the non-purely instrumental, there's like Isis is one of my favorites. That was one of the original huge influences.
That was one that you had me listening to.
Cool.
Yeah, I wanted to do something that was that had like the heaviness of Isis kind of mixed with the brooding of Mogwai was kind of where I wanted to go with that, because I love Mogwai a lot.
That brooding, I was trying to put my finger on what the style was specifically, because it does have this brooding quality and it has this kind of almost like ambient quality, but then it's also heavy. It still is
absolutely
heavy. And I think that just the juxtaposition of that, the way you guys do it, is really successful. I think it's a difficult thing to do to get it just right, and it really is there. It's like you could relax to it almost, or you could just get real pumped up by it. Is it depending on how you're, the mood you're in almost?
Well, that's awesome. Thank you very much.
But
it's almost like trying to do like a metalized Mogwai sort of thing, or just take like that heaviness and do it. And even like Sigur Rós too is another one. That
I was going to say Sigur Rós just now. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say. I mean, it would be a dream to get as beautiful as they get, but it's there. Like that's all kind of kicking around the brain when trying to write riffs or trying to write parts and everything. It's just kind of expanded as much as possible, and even into like Radiohead's another one of my absolute favorites, and just taking like those moods that they have and just putting maybe a little bit more of a metal spin, because I definitely love metal. I love classic metal. There's some stuff in here like the old kind of dual guitar classic metal stuff.
Yeah,
that I'm really
the harmonies,
like,
those
like the
majestic
Thin Lizzy
harmonies.
shit,
Yeah,
like
there's
all
definitely
that
some of that
stuff's
in there.
really,
It's good.
really into that. Kind of trying to throw all that stuff into a blender and see if that comes out is something people want to hear.
There truly is nothing more wonderful than the majesty of guitar harmonies and the melody.
Sometimes it's just so simple. It's like, all I
yeah.
need to do is play a third over this, and it just sounds glorious.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
awesome. Yeah.
No, I love that. So yeah, okay. Pandemic, you guys got together. Then, how did you find yourselves getting? You signed to Metal Blade, right? How did that happen?
Well,
I know a person.
I gotcha.
we sent some music, some demos to to some people, some management people, and they're like, "Hey, this sounds really good, and we think we can get you guys somewhere, and we know the right people to talk to." And it definitely took some time, but you got to be patient with that kind of stuff. And eventually they came back and with a couple of offers, and Metal Blade was the one that we wanted to go with. We all agreed like this sounds great. Let's do it.
Yeah, it was super cool because Killswitch has a relationship with them now,
Right.
which is pretty awesome. And I didn't expect anything. I didn't expect just because I'm on a band that's on their label that they were going to be like, yeah, sure, whatever. I didn't
I think
have
they
any
even
of that.
said that.
Well,
They said we're not
though, just having that
we
door
didn't want that
cracked
either.
open a little bit is huge, and
Right.
and it is. No matter whether it's fair or not, the music industry, all industries, but the music industry specifically, it's who you know. It just is. Like everything, the things that I've got over the years, or the ways that things have worked out for me over the years, have just been through knowing a guy, through either playing with them or through like meeting them a bunch of times at shows or something like that. It's when I formed my best bonds with people, and that's where I've got sort of my biggest little breaks, here and there, really.
That's how it's done, though. That's the best way, by putting the work in and meeting the people and making connections and friends. And
Exactly, and I say that to students of mine and things. I'm like, just get yourself out there. It's like there's nothing better than like FaceTime with someone.
Yeah.
The more you can show up and support things and get out and meet people, the better.
Yeah, and you can never say, I don't know if I want to play with that band, or I don't know if I want to talk to this person because they do a different thing than I do. It doesn't matter. Like everybody, like you never know what you're going to have in common with someone. Like you might play in a band that's totally different than something, and you might think, oh, I must not have anything in common with those people, but you have no idea.
Exactly.
You absolutely might, and it might lead to something down the road that works out.
Exactly, and a lot of people who are musicians, if you especially when we get a bit older, you can't really define a person by the style of music that you see them playing, because who knows what else they're doing,
Yeah, exactly.
It's like I'm in a bluegrass band and also like a ska punk band, and the two are completely different things. You know what I mean? And just depending on what night you see me, you could make assumptions about me, but that would be wrong.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Same thing with Gravel Kings. Where we play in that, I play in that, and then play in this band, and it's totally two different things.
Yeah, totally.
Indie bluegrass kind of a thing, and then this melodic, metal post rock stuff.
Yeah,
You just never know what we'll be playing.
And different instruments too.
Yeah, different instruments, play bass, drums. You just never know what you'll get.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably a good time to talk a little bit about you guys' former and sort of current other bands, because it's quite interesting, and you guys are both in some really cool bands. Why don't we start with Justin, and you tell us a little bit about your journey with Killswitch?
Yeah, it's been a long one.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want? Anything?
Okay, so why don't we start from the beginning? When did you join?
Yeah, sure. 2003, I joined. Like I'd mentioned
22
before,
then,
yeah, I was in Blood Shed, another Connecticut hardcore band that Howard was the singer of, and he was also the singer in Killswitch after Jesse had left.
Yeah.
For about a year. I was in Blood Shed, and I remember when Howard also joined Killswitch, and then we were kind of doing things together. And
Killswitch formed in
cool.
like 99, right?
Yeah, right around then.
Yeah,
right around
yeah.
then. I think their first show was either 99 or 2000. I think they got together and started practicing in 99.
Right.
So it's been a while. And they, because Adam was the original drummer, and they did a record that they realized they did too many guitars on, so Adam had to switch to Adam had to switch to guitar, and then they had their friend playing drums, but it wasn't working out, and they were looking for somebody else, and Howard just suggested me.
Cool.
And that was it. I mean, I don't think they put too much thought into it way back then, other than just like, yeah, sure, this guy will do whatever.
Well, here you are all this time later, so I guess it worked out.
I didn't blow it too hard.
So how many albums have you done since then? Just a lot, right?
6, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they had their first EP on Ferret, and then the first album on Roadrunner, and then I've been on everything since then.
Cool. And then, I mean, you guys have, you're a well-known band, so you must have played all sorts of cool spots. I wonder if we've played any of the same things. Have you ever played Reading and Leeds in the UK?
We did Reading and Leeds one time,
Right.
07 or 6, sometime around.
Yeah, it was about when we did it.
Yeah,
as
so
well.
maybe.
Yeah.
We've done Download like 7 times or something
Right
crazy.
on.
But
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to Glastonbury? Did you ever do that one?
No, never Glastonbury. Is that like a more skewing metal one or no?
Glastonbury is it's almost like more of a hippie sort of festival.
Yeah, I don't think they would have us.
Except they do odd things though sometimes.
Okay.
You'd be surprised at who you can sort of wind up seeing at Glastonbury. But so I used to play a bunch of festivals in Europe too, but I can't remember their names. But that's
Some
cool.
of the
You
real,
played
like,
Reading and Leeds.
Yeah, Grass Pop's a big one. Wakken's a big one.
Yeah.
Rock am Ring and Park, the big German ones.
That's
Hellfest
awesome.
is a real big one now, and
Oh,
France
yeah.
is a real good one.
So how often are you doing international tours these days?
We actually haven't gone to Europe since the before times.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
So
of
it's been a
course, yeah.
long time, and we're heading there later this year for the first time in
nice.
forever. And I miss it. I was talking to one of our guys who's there in Scotland right now. He did sound for us for a long time, and he was just texting me this morning, and I was just like, man, we haven't been there in forever, and I really miss it.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's one of the cool things about traveling internationally with a band is that, I mean, there's downsides. Like the downsides are you don't get to see a lot of it. You're always in the van. You boom, boom. You see a bunch of different venues, and that's about it. Maybe a little bit in the day every now and again. But the good thing is people are happy to see you when you get there.
Yeah.
And if you're just a random tourist of some kind, they just see a number. You're just kind of a way to make money. So it's really nice to show up somewhere and actually be wanted. I loved that, when I was on tour, and they'll show you things that you wouldn't otherwise have seen,
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Just the opportunity to go at all is just amazing.
That
because
too.
so many people can't just don't have means to get places and see places and everything. And we're going because people want to hear our music. That's nuts.
Yeah,
It's still nuts.
Did you
That's
hear
pretty
about
awesome.
all the difficulty we've been having with Brexit in England and the touring problems that's causing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a lot. It's been just in general, touring finances have gone way up, and it's just been more difficult for bands to go. I mean, and we were supposed to go last year. Or we had some stuff booked last year, and then there was a war that was like
Right.
threatening a lot of the things that we had planned to do. So we had to pull out of that, which was definitely a bummer. So
when
many
you
things.
guys play, do you get out to Eastern Europe?
Yeah, some of the stuff that made it sketchy for us was that we were getting a little close, and if there was, and that combined with the touring expenses made it like if anything went wrong at all, we were going to be in a pretty big hole, which is just
Yeah.
and it sucks. It really sucks, but you have to make those choices,
Yeah, for sure.
which is a bummer.
Have you ever played in Sofia in Bulgaria?
No.
Yeah, that way they're like the places like Serbia and Croatia. and
Yes,
stuff.
we have been there, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
awesome. We actually played there with Slipknot,
Oh wow!
like opened for them there, and the shows were bonkers.
Yeah.
People lost their minds. It was
Totally.
awesome.
I've had some of my best nights in my life in Serbia and Croatia, like just insane, super busy, nutso, beer flying everywhere type nights.
Good times.
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. that that you're gracing us with your presence as someone who's in like an awesome band and not one but two awesome bands. I really appreciate that you'd come and talk to us, and it's super cool. So Gravel Kings is Doug's other band, and you guys
One of Doug's
other bands, and I've always had a soft spot for Gravel Kings because there's a kind of a tenuous link musically with my band Killbillies. You know, I think you guys are, I mean, you're definitely different. It's not the same thing, but there's enough the same, you know, as well.
Yeah, definitely could go match up pretty well.
Yeah,
definitely.
totally.
Play well together, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's going on currently with Gravel Kings?
Well, we just had the 10-year anniversary of the first show just this past weekend.
That's
up
right,
in
yeah.
Stewart there in Terra Firmata. And
How was it, man?
It was great. It was a great turnout. A lot of people came out that we hoped for, and they showed up, and it was a good time. And we played pretty much all of the songs, all the hits, which is all of them.
Yeah,
we were up there about a good hour and a half, and it was fun.
Well, I mean, I know it doesn't really mean a huge amount, but I've seen the numbers on Spotify. A lot of people like Gravel Kings. You know, it's been listened to a lot. You know?
Yeah, it's weird how many people will just randomly recognize me for playing in a band, just out and about, not even playing, and they'll just
as a drummer too.
And as the drummer too. That's why I mean it's so crazy because nobody
yeah.
ever recognizes the drummer. And I'd be like, well, yeah, definitely. I appreciate the the love from that, and it's cool. I didn't realize how many people really know about it.
And are you guys still doing this sort of a similar aesthetic? Is there banjo involved still, or has it gone more guitar-y?
Well, we on the last EP that we did, it was more guitar, but since then we kind of taken a break to do other projects and everything, and just kind of bring back all the songs and kind of
nice.
So the banjo's back, the slide guitar, all that good stuff, and we actually added keys for this show, and it went so well that we were like, you got to actually be the fifth member of this band now. This guy Basham Stewart,
cool.
He's great on keys. He's the guy you want on keys for sure.
That's awesome. So it's we was talking about it earlier because you've been on hiatus for quite a long time, but now having played this, do you think you're going to play a little more?
Yeah, I think it kind of re-sparked a little bit for us, and we'll probably do a couple of shows a year, just make find some good shows, or maybe a festival or something cool and fun to do. Just something that's going to be not just not playing like every weekend like we were. We were playing a lot in the past, so we just want to make it mean something and do it like that.
Yeah, nice. So this is a question that I ask everyone who comes on, and it's always quite interesting to hear people's responses, which is when it comes to just you alone in a practice room with your instrument, do you still practice?
Yeah. Absolutely, especially with guitar, with Lybica stuff. I mean, I need all the practice I can get.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I was just at the practice spot last night. I played the songs, and then I was running scales. So I was like, I gotta get better at everything all the time. You can be good, but you can always get better.
Exactly, couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and I just have guitars sitting in random rooms in my house, and I'm always picking them up and just sort of like going over stuff and just trying to get comfortable with it.
Well, that's great. That's where I'm at currently. Is I'm practicing quite a lot again, but I know it seems to go in waves for me. But I always respect someone who practices their instrument, doesn't take it for granted. That's cool. So, do you have any kind of like approach to it? Like, do you have, or is it just you sit down and try and start?
A lot of times with guitar, I'm mostly trying to just play our songs. I feel like I can't play our songs enough times through.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's so new.
The more the better.
And sometimes I try to learn other stuff that I'm familiar with, or just whatever. With drums, it's a little different because I kind of, when I want to play drums, I sort of, I just put my iPod on random. Yeah, it's still an iPod. I put my iPod on just random, and I just play along to whatever comes up and just sort of like jam. And if I know it cool, if I know only parts of it, whatever, I just sort of groove along to it and just sort of do that.
What are you practicing on drums-wise at home? Have you got a live kit, or have you got an electronic kit?
We built a room.
Oh yeah, we did build a whole room in the garage.
Yeah, in my garage. We did half the garage. We turned it into a room.
Oh man, you got to let me come check that out.
So-
Sounds really badass.
Yeah,
I just
it's
want
nice.
to take one look at it. I love all that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's our-
it
it's
took
our,
it took about like 2 weeks to build. You know, it was
Cool.
good. It did double drywall, some sort of
You did
sound
the
barrier.
whole thing double
mass
drywall.
loaded
Yeah.
vinyl is
Yeah,
what we put in there, and we just did. We tried to do it as well as we could to try to disrupt as few people as possible.
Yeah, or as many you
As
almost
many,
to say.
whatever. I
Yeah,
almost
so
said
can
that.
you play a ton of drums in there and you barely hear it outside? or-
You can hear outside, not so much. Inside, on the other side of that one wall, kind
Gets
of,
a
but
little loud.
less than
Than what it
usual.
would be. Yeah, so
That's great.
it's good. It's not too bad.
Is it
at
like
all.
a studio? Is it set up for recording?
Not really, no. We could probably record stuff pretty quickly, because like we could just throw stuff in the Logic real fast. It wouldn't be too big
Sure.
a deal. But it's not really set up for that. It's mostly just kind of a jam room. So I have a kit in there that just stays in there all the time, and then we have our stuff, our the
Yeah.
gear that we use in there.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, it's worked out really well.
Is there, with Lybica, is there a writing process?
Not
No,
really.
not really. I mean, Justin wrote pretty much all the songs on the first album, and then he brought them to us, and we tweaked them a little bit and listened to them, and just kind of made them our own a little. And
Yeah, I just had a lot of stuff kind of demoed or written, and I was like, "You guys like this?" And they did.
Oh, okay.
So we changed what we want to change. I'm not like set in stone on anything as we're demoing.
Yeah.
Once songs are done, like that's how they're going to be when they're done. But once we're demoing, just whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And now
we
we're
come up
working on
with.
new music, and it's kind of a collective. It's everybody, coming with the ideas. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah,
So the next album's going to be a lot more collaborative, you think?
yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I think we're more. I think
Getting used to our instruments.
Yeah, exactly. Like the part of this whole band at first was the two of us learning new instruments.
Yeah,
really.
I pretty much learned bass during that beginning of that COVID time.
Yeah.
I was messing around with it a little bit, kind of knew a thing or two, but not much. And I just got a couple of lessons from my stepson, who's a great bass player, and he goes to FSU in the College of Music, and he knows all about it. He just sat me down, a couple of lessons. I was like, oh, that's all I needed. And then it just opened right up, and then we sat down and went over a couple of songs, and I was like, oh, I can do this. I've already got the groove and the feel from playing drums.
Yeah.
It just translated right into bass. I was like, it was easy to go over
Yeah, and we didn't even have a drummer in the band
for a while.
forever. We
Yeah.
recorded the
Right.
record. I did the drums on the record because we hadn't found a drummer yet.
Sure, yeah.
So when we were practicing, it was just the three of us, me, Doug, and Joey, playing to the drum tracks from the demos. Just that's how we were learning all
Yeah.
the songs.
Okay.
And then we tracked once we recorded the record, and we got serious about finding a drummer. So we haven't even really been a band, like a full band, before we did that first record.
How did you do the first record? Where did you record it?
We recorded it down in Miami at Jonathan Nunez from Torch.
Sound Artillery
Yeah,
Studios.
we were at
Cool.
his studio, and he was awesome. And he was just like dealing with two guys that don't even know their instrument.
So how did you end up picking that place? How did that come about?
I think one of my friends that that worked with Killswitch forever. His
Yeah.
name's Tom Dice, and he lives down in Miami, and he knows Jonathan, and he recommended going down there. And I think I was just like reaching out to some people, and they recommended him.
Yeah, and funny enough, Joey, the other guitar player, years ago played in another band called
That's right, I forgot about that.
Bridges Not Barriers, and they
Right.
recorded with him.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was the band. that
Yeah, it might have even come from Joey first. I
Okay.
can't remember right now, but that's how we got hooked up with him.
What kind of a setup is it? Is it like a sort of big, giant, nice studio, or is it like more of a sort of a small kind of situation? Is it like a big studio, like power station type thing?
No, it's like it's a super nice studio.
Yeah.
It's in kind of a
warehouse district kind of a place.
yeah,
right?
yeah, like a warehouse, like it's a section of like a industrial park. kind
Yeah,
of.
so, yeah.
And it's one of those areas that he converted into a studio.
Yeah,
And he
it
has
would
like
have
the
a big
upstairs.
roll-up door, but it's fixed shut, and there's just one door to go in.
He's got his control room upstairs, the
Yeah.
big
You build like a
drum room downstairs and
Okay.
everything, and then he also he also builds amps and cabs and pedals, so we were using a lot of his stuff too to get some of the tones.
You want a guy who owns the studio to have that side to them, because then you know that they really understand the gear. Like it's something that I've got a ton of studio equipment at my house, and I've always. I mean, I can record here, which is great, and I do quite a lot, like record bands here and things, but it's always been a pipe dream of mine to finally pull all the stuff out of my house and, set up a studio somewhere. Yeah, it'll happen eventually.
And if you listen to Torch records, they're super heavy and they're super organic sounding, and that's what we definitely wanted to get with this. I didn't want it to sound like a sterile metal.
No, and it doesn't.
Sterile modern metal record.
It doesn't.
Really.
It does sound organic, and that's something I liked about it. Yeah, for sure. So you're a relatively new band, but you've played some shows. What kind of shows have you been playing with Lybica?
We played some cool shows. We've played some.
Like, how busy have you been?
Our first show was at the Haven up in where's that, Winter Park?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a pretty fun show. It was a nice spot there. It's actually a new spot now called, I think, Conduit. Got a guy I know took it over. But otherwise, we've played a couple of other good shows. We flew up to Albany, played up at, what was that room called?
Oh my God.
I can't remember. I can't remember.
Yeah. But I pulled a couple strings to get us on a couple Killswitch shows.
Nice. Yeah. So it's been so relatively sporadic. Have you done it in kind of a tour yet?
We did 3 shows up in the Northeast 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, a little run up there, New Jersey, Long Island, Massachusetts. It was pretty fun with Killswitch and Unearth and Rivers of Nile, and it was a fun little run. Rivers of Nile.
Oh, there you go. It's quite the t-shirt.
Yeah, it was super fun. So that's other than that, we've had just local Florida shows, I guess, so far.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's the? How have people been enjoying it? Have you had a good response?
I think so. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't know what to expect, and then they hear it like, "Wow, that was like really moving," and they really enjoyed it. And one lady said she was brought to tears, and I think in Worcester, she said, "I was like, wow."
It's very, very different from just kind of what I've been used to for years with people singing lyrics back to you and people killing themselves in the pit and everything.
Yeah.
And it's definitely different. I don't expect that at all. It's just hard to really get a vibe because that's such an instant gratification thing.
For sure.
When you just look out there and you see a bunch of people killing each other.
Yeah, you got to have a lot of confidence to be like, no, this is good. We know what we're doing. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're good, and I feel like we're playing well, and I look out, and it's different than what you're used to seeing. So, but you have to be
more like
confidence.
More like a recital almost.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are just like standing and watching, like, whoa, I didn't know that's what was going to happen. And I think all those people that are really into like the heavy stuff, where you're thrashing around and raging, they're good candidates to like the music that we're playing. Because it's kind of in the same kind of realm there, but it's just a little different.
Well, the fact that you can play these great shows means that you'll get a little bit of a light shone on you that maybe some other people wouldn't have had the opportunity to, and as a result, kind of maybe be able to fit into that little space of instrumental metal that people who are into metal would listen to when they want to listen to that kind of thing.
Right.
That'd be great. And I really just genuinely wish you all the best, because it's such cool music, and it's an interesting and brave sort of direction to go in, and something which I admire, and I'm actually kind of jealous of, honestly. It's badass. But the question that I was going to ask, you haven't done like a million gigs with this, but it's sort of, I guess it applies to, across the board, really, is that when it comes to sort of drugs and alcohol in it, and how that intersects with playing music in front of people. Do you have any sort of like rules with that, or are you just kind of like you can just handle it?
I'd say, 2 to 3 beers, before a set, at the most.
Right. Yeah,
and that's like
never touch this stuff.
There it is.
That's like a few hours of 2 to 3 beers, not like 2 to 3 beers in the hour before.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you want to be kind of on top of it and know what you're doing, especially we're playing different instruments.
Yeah,
Different things for everybody. But I cannot play drums if I have anything to drink at all.
Sure, I can relate to that.
I go
with drums.
nuts because I get like all in my head about tempos and everything, and like it's just totally crazy.
Yeah.
And guitar, yeah, easy. I can have a couple beers and I feel better about it all. So it's funny because I've sort of been, I've been amazed over the years at how much the rest of the Killswitch guys can drink before the set. Because like we have a power hour, and before the set, everyone just gets hammered except me.
Right, gotcha.
And then I'm just like, how are these guys doing it? And now it's sort of like, oh, okay, it's a little easier when
you're playing guitar.
Everything's
like
not
a
on your
living
shoulders.
metronome.
Yeah, totally. So
do Killswitch? Do you play with like a click or anything, or is it?
no, we don't. Yeah, no click or tracks or anything. It's just all
cool.
a live band.
Hell yeah. The other question that I wanted to ask you guys was, and it's something that I just find fun to ask because I've got so many funny stories, and I think that Doug may have a story. Was the weirdest thing that's ever happened at a gig?
Oh, this was weird and embarrassing, but I'll still say it anyway. I pulled the full rookie move at the first show in New Jersey 2 weeks ago. And, we were all ready, sound checked up, ready to go. And I went up,
the first of the three shows.
First like
three, definitely our biggest shows.
Kicking off these holidays ragers. And I was like ready to go. I said something on the mic because I'm the one that talks on the mic. And then the song starts and no sound is coming out.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, shit, what is happening?
Yeah.
And I looked down at the pedal board, and there, there's lights going and everything. So I think that maybe the wireless is messed up. So I ripped that out and put a cable in. And
this is giving me anxiety already.
Still nothing. Yeah. And then I look back at the amp, and it's not on. I forgot to turn the amp on. Like I was like, oh my god, I can't believe it.
He's a drummer.
Like having ripped off the wireless already.
Yeah. So then I turned the amp on, and still no sound. And one of the Killswitch crew guys comes over and just pops in one of the cables. That was kind of in my franticness to see what was going on, I pulled out another cable.
Yeah.
So he popped that back in, and then I miraculously came in right on time, and everything else ripped after that. I was like, and then when the set was done, he's like, it doesn't matter till you hit the first note. Nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah,
I was like, you're right. I'm going with that.
Absolutely. Have I ever been there? With just and you do everything you can to make sure it's all good, and you've spent. It always happens in the times when I've spent the most time making sure my gear is like perfect too, and then I'll go, something will happen.
Thing being, like that's a particular nightmare, I think, for us.
Oh, it was
as being drummers, because drummers, you hit the thing and it makes sound, and it's just that's all it is.
Yeah,
dealing with all these cables and all these pedals,
I don't know what it could
electronics
be.
and like electricity in general, like all of that is. He was living my nightmare, and I was just next to him thinking to myself, oh no.
For the longest
I was getting ready to just like lie down, just go like this.
Because seriously, that's like number one panic scenario for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Being a guitar,
I hate it.
Not like, okay, well, what is it? There's a million patch chords here. Like it could be anything. What do I do? Like, it's horrifying.
Absolutely. And for the longest time, for that very reason, I just did it. I just used one cable to my amp, and then like I used the amp distortion because I was just like, I just can't deal with the stress. But like I'm back to using 5 million pedals again. I'm back there again, and I'm a little bit better at it now. The reason I brought up sort of drugs and alcohol before is because I used to take a lot of drugs and alcohol when I was younger, and so I wasn't particularly reliable back then. But now my head is a lot straighter. I feel like the pedals is fine. I got it down.
I think maybe 15 minutes before that, one of the dudes from Unearth was like, hey, let's do a shot of tequila before you go out there. I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it then. And then I went out and like, this can't be happening right now. Hopefully I'm just asleep and I'm going to open my eyes and we're going to go on stage in like 20 minutes.
My eyes are going to open. I'll be in Unearth's dressing room. Everything will be fine.
Yeah. But it all worked out.
I'm really curious to listen to some of you guys' music. Why don't we take a look at the video that you guys gave us? Sound good?
Yes.
Awesome.
Excellent. 561 Music is brought to you by Handlebars Bar and Grill. It's a biker bar in Tequesta, and if you're driving up US 1, you come across it on the right-hand side. It's a little bar there. It's bright yellow. You can't miss it with the handlebars on the sign. And it has a long and storied history. It's been there. It used to be called Judy's, and it was run by this guy Victor, who sadly passed this year, R.I.P. Victor. And then my father-in-law took it over, and he's doing a great job up there. There is a bike night every second Thursday of the month, and there is a jam every fourth Sunday of the month. If you're interested in that kind of thing, it's just an all-inclusive, any kind of music, any style, any ability type of a jam. And there's great beers on tap, and they're wonderful food. Bernsey, the chef, does a fantastic job. If you're interested in classic cars or classic bikes, there's always that kind of stuff hanging around there. It attracts that sort of a crowd because it's called Handlebars Bar and Grill, so it makes sense. And yeah, you should come swing by. It's definitely a local spot and has a lot of character. And there's people who have been going there for decades and decades. It's one of those places that's a part of the furniture in Tequesta, and you should definitely come check it out. I booked the music for the place and love doing it, and I was a part of helping set the place up, and I'm a huge fan. And you should, anyone who is interested in biker bars, or even if you've just never been to one and you're curious about what a biker bar is about, you should go and check out Handlebars Bar and Grill. We are also sponsored by Oasis Root. Now, Oasis Root Kava Bar is in Sea Grape Square on Indiantown Rd, and it is a kava bar. If you don't know anything about kava, it's a Polynesian root that you grind up and you mix with water, and it has been in Polynesia for potentially thousands of years. It's an old thing that they used for kind of ceremonial and also sort of leisure purposes. It's meant to be something where, you know, that brings people together. You all take a shell of kava and chink them together and say bula and have it together like that. It's meant to be something to bring people together. It's has a kind of an effect, which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly warming effect. It just kind of makes you feel nice. It's not particularly intoxicating. It's not like drinking alcohol. So the atmosphere in a kava bar is sort of like a cross between a regular bar and a coffee house. It's pretty chill in there. You get all sorts of different types of kava bars. Some of them are more like a club, you know, there's sort of like blacklight and EDM playing, and some of them are more like a cafe. This is one of the cafe type of ones. It's super chill in there. If you're looking for somewhere to, I don't know, maybe go and do some work on your laptop or go and have a chat with friends, it's perfect for that kind of thing. There's a foosball table in there if that's your jam, or baby-foot as they call it in France. And yeah, Jim, the owner, is a really cool guy, and he has very kindly sponsored our podcast. So thank you very, very much for that, Jim. They also do a poker night in there, all sorts of things going on at Oasis Root Kava Bar. 561 Music is sponsored by Live Music Community. It's where we film the podcast that you're listening to right now, and it's also where I work. Gavin, Hector's son, was a student here for a long time, and in many ways he's the musician he is today because of the teachers at Live Music Community. We taught him not only about his instrument, but also about being in a band, and his band, Unemployed Youth, accomplished a lot of goals, mostly band etiquette, how to work together, and all of the nitty-gritty that goes into being in a band on a day-to-day basis. The student signs up for lessons, learns their instrument, joins a real band, and decides the direction it goes in. And we can take people from very young age, 6 or 7 years old, all the way up to 80. There's no age limit here. We run an adult program for people who want to be in a band as adults, but really the main focus is on the kids and getting them playing together and in bands. We are also a studio, a live stream venue, and we can record audio or video. The Killbillies live album, Warts and All, was recorded here. It was recorded during a live stream that we did during COVID. Justin had a great idea to record live streams during COVID. A ton of bands came in, and it was a real success. But outside of that, we can record albums, we can help you with your EPK, and we have full audio-visual capabilities here. LMC is in Palm Beach Gardens on the northwest corner of Military Trail and North Lake Boulevard. It's north of the gas station, right before you get to North Lake on Military Trail. And if you go to livemusiccommunity.com, you have all the information you'll need right there. Thanks. All right, we're back. And something which I would like to ask you, we ask all the guests, is seeing as we were just listening to a commercial about Live Music Community, which is one of the sponsors of the podcast, and also where we are sitting right now. It's a music school, and we try to give out advice as best we can here. And I was wondering, do you have any advice for up-and-coming musicians?
Yeah, my advice is play with everybody.
Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit before, but
Yeah.
that really is my advice. Play with everybody,
And listen to everything, too.
Yes. Just keep your mind open to every style of music, every person that you meet that plays music, just everything.
Take a chance, take a chance. If you don't feel comfortable, do it anyway. Try it out. If you fail, it doesn't matter. The other musicians will probably either try to help you out or give you some tips, or most musicians are really helpful and want to see everybody succeed. So it's always good to just try.
Yeah, I found it's not really competitive.
No,
I don't think it's a competitive thing.
No, and actually, that's how I agree with you. Well, it depends. I mean, so you get some dicks out there, but
of course.
I mean, everywhere. But.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that sort of ties into something else that I was going to ask you, which is how have you found the Florida music scene? Has it been embraced Lybica with open arms, or has it been just sort of playing down here?
I think we've had good shows.
Yeah, we've had some good shows. We had some good people come out to these shows and, be excited about it.
You've been in the local Florida music scene way more than I have.
Sure,
so
yeah.
You've got a lot more knowledge of it. Than I do.
It's, you're in the same kind of scene too with the,
Yeah. And I have to say, again, it's across the board. It would be a little bit of a broad claim, but in general, the people I deal with are very friendly and just want to help out. I've had a great time down here with music, and I always think that Florida is a little bit of a forgotten gem of music. There's more goes on down here than people would realize.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. We've had some good luck playing some good shows down south. Respectables we played. We did the heavy metal patio, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it's a cool little thing, and it's just been trying to book more shows, trying to make more contacts and go a little further south, go west, go all over the place if we can, in Florida, and try to build a nice following here.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And no reason why it wouldn't happen either. This is a bit of a weird question for you guys because I don't know how it's going to translate, but is there anything that the song we just listened to is about? Or is it kind of just, was there any kind of emotions that drove it? Or do you ever kind of ascribe some kind of tangible theme to any of the music that you write?
It's funny. Like one of the things that was kind of unexpected was how difficult it would be to name songs without lyrics.
Right, yeah.
I never really thought about that before.
Yeah.
Until we had to all of a sudden name all
the
songs.
I would just sit in my personal jam room and listen to these demos and be like, what does this song feel like to me right now? How am I like one of them's called Ascend, and I just felt that's how I felt. I felt like it was like lifting me up, and it was very airy.
Yeah, you named that one for sure.
And I did name. I was like, that's.
So it's more like a kind of it's more like it's sort of feelings and some kind of movement direction, but not like, oh well, this is about the environment. It's not.
Not so much. I mean, a lot of it just comes from riffs that sound cool. And put together.
Sure.
And
how does this riff make me feel? What is it? What's it kind of putting out? And that's how the song names kind of come up.
That's
cool.
That's mostly where it comes from. A couple of them have been kind of like the song Octavist. That word is. Like, the Russian singers that have super duper low voices, like that like Russian folk singer.
Oh yeah, with the whistle
way low down. That's a word for those singers that happens.
Like the Tuvan throat singers.
They can hit like low A's, and that song is tuned to A, so it all kind of worked out.
Yeah.
We're like, oh well, then that makes a lot
of
sense for that song. Like things like that kind of make sense.
Am I even talking about the same? I'm talking about those Siberian people that do the.
Oh no, I'm just talking about.
Yeah,
I'm just talking about like.
if you look up Octavist, it's these Russian like opera singers that that like
Yeah.
hit the low notes.
Cool.
Super
Really
low,
deep and
low
yeah.
notes.
Like he
I
said,
gotta check it
that
out.
song is tuned to drop A from D standard, so it's like
Yeah.
And that's
heavy.
like the
It's-
note that
yeah.
that they hit, apparently, which is a very low note for a human voice. They
Yeah,
hit a low
really.
A.
I think I can get a D above that just.
On my
Yeah.
best days, I can get a C if I'm sick.
Right, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. So we had you take a picture of some of your gear. Why don't we take a look at what we've got going on here? Look at that.
All right.
There's a pile of stuff there.
There's a pile of stuff
Yes,
for
it
sure.
is.
Who wants to start and tell us about what I'm looking at here?
I've got a Billy Sheehan Attitude 2 bass. It's a Yamaha. It's pretty nice. It's
So yeah, I guess let's go clockwise then, because you're starting right at
right at the top.
right
Yeah,
at 12.
yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, and that was my first bass. I had it for actually 10 years and just like kind of plucked it a little bit and messed around, and then one day I decided to really learn, and that's the bass I learned on. That's also the bass I recorded the album with too.
Oh, sweet.
And then below that is the Fender Jazz bass.
Yeah.
And that I bought from a friend, and it's really been nice. I use that as my drop C bass.
Okay.
Strictly. The
Yeah.
other one, the Yamaha bass has got it's got the what is, I always forget the
Like
name.
the hip shot thing. The switch.
It's in D natural. I just flick it down, it goes to drop A.
Oh wow.
Like instantly. These guys are always like, "Oh, you're already tuned
I know,
up,
it's
huh?"
so
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah, we
that's
have
cool.
our songs are either in D standard or drop C, with that one exception that's in drop A
Yeah.
that he just flips the switch for.
Yeah.
So
It's
we're
nice
all
to
kind
be
of
prepared
using
like that.
yeah, we're all kind of using different stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we keep going around the clock, the next guitar at 3 o'clock is Joey's Jaguar.
Yeah.
That thing's nice.
Yeah, I think
Justin,
awesome.
who's the engineer of this and is sitting in the other room, he has one of these and he loves it.
It's super nice. That's Joey's drop C guitar, and then it's leaning across his pedal board.
Yeah.
He's got the H2O. He's got the
A few other ones.
yeah. I can't.
I can't remember.
That's
the
Strymon.
blue one,
I
the
can't
red one.
remember what that Strymon is, but it's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, the Strymon. Yeah.
That's a really nice
I've
one.
been messing around with some Strymon pedals that my friend Joe left at my house, and there's this crazy like 8-bit delay one, and this really cool reverb that has like you can set the reverb to different octaves and stuff.
Yeah.
There's some cool stuff in those pedals.
He's got a. You can see in the middle of his pedal board, he's got a PV foot switch.
Yeah.
So he's using a 6505 head.
Right.
And then I don't want to get all of his pedals wrong.
Yeah.
And then that's also his Les Paul also.
Okay.
yes.
And that's laying across your pedal board.
It's my pedal board. My main pedal is the Sans amp, which that's a great pedal.
Yeah, man.
Just,
I've got
that one is
There's
always
actually one-
on.
There's actually one right behind you over there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You gotta love
Oh
it.
yeah,
Sounds
there it
like-
is. Yep.
That one is always on, and I've got a chorus pedal which I use minimally, and then a couple of other pedals for distortion and.
Do you go through a speaker or like a monitor? Like how are you amplifying yourself?
Oh, I have the EBS 500 watt. It's a
Okay.
small. It fits in my backpack. I fly with
Oh,
it
wow.
in my backpack.
That's
It's
cool.
so nice. It's
Weighs
so
like
light.
6 pounds.
Yeah,
Oh, my word.
maybe even like 4 pounds. It's so light.
That's amazing.
It's nice. Yeah, and then I have if we're playing a local show, I have a custom cabinet with 215s in it.
Custom
Okay.
with a K.
Yeah, custom with a K.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it looks
yeah.
like an
Yeah.
ottoman.
Not like
Yeah.
crazy with a cat. I know. I know what you're talking about.
It's a nice one. It sounds good. It's so heavy. Indeed, we just use it at Stampfest, and it really cut through nicely.
Yeah, sick.
We were using both of them at the record release
Oh
show.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
At
Because I
Roasted
have two.
Records.
I actually have two 215 cabinets, and it gets super heavy and loud with those.
I want to get a guitar cab that's just two. That's like because
Yeah.
I've just got the standard 4x12 whatever it is, the like normal Marshall half stack, and I want to get like half for one of those, just like
Right.
just two like that. That's my next acquisition. I'm gonna sell this thing. I guess I could make mine into that. I don't know. Whatever. What's this dark green guy here?
That is a Warmouth parts caster basically. So I
Okay.
bought all the I bought all the parts.
Is this your main axe, that one?
Yeah, that's my D guitar.
Gotcha.
So Joey's Jaguar is the C guitar. His Les Paul is his D guitar. That green one is my D guitar, and that is kind of modeled after a guitar that I got that was kind of a Fender Tele with a Jazzmaster body.
Okay.
And it had it had different pickups, but anyway, I just got a little weird about specifically weird about trying to find the guitar, and then somebody told me, oh well, maybe you should buy all these parts from Warmouth and have somebody make it. So
yeah.
And I got all these parts, and I sent them all to Killswitch's Stage Right guitar tech / production manager, Josh Milik, and
nice.
he put everything together
Awesome
for that
dude.
guitar for me.
Yeah, wow.
Totally awesome dude. And I took a chance on that green color, and it came out like amazing.
It was great.
That the wood, I really love seeing a wood grain.
Oh, me
that
too,
came
dude.
out so nicely.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how nice that came out.
Yeah.
And I put like a telly neck on it, but like a flatter telly neck, so I think
Yeah.
it's like an 11 instead of a 9.5, and like all this weird shit. And I got so that middle guitar is my C guitar, which is a Schecter semi-hollow body,
Oh yeah.
which I kind of stumbled on, and it has a P90 in the bridge and a humbucker.
How do you feel about
P90 in the neck, a humbucker in the bridge.
Do you use the P90?
Yeah,
you
clean
do.
stuff. I use it all.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I love it. I think it's incredible for
Yeah.
clean stuff. It's ridiculous.
I'm a little bit, I don't know what the word is, undereducated about P90s. I have had goes on them before, but the reason why people like them, like the thing that they do, I don't know enough about yet. You know, I've got to get something with one in and just mess
Totally
around
by
with
accident that I got that guitar and I fell in love with that pickup combination. But it's like anything heavy is all bridge, and anything clean I switch to the neck, and that P90 is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I love it. I can't. So I had that other one built with those same pickup configuration in it.
Oh, cool.
Which is kind of cool. And then that pedal board over there is my pedal board.
Is there anything on there of particular note?
Probably because I
Couple of
use KSR series pedal for my distortion,
Right.
which is like if you look at the top left, it's second pedal down on the left. The top
Right.
one is a Strymon El Capistan,
Yeah.
and then the one under that is that pedal. And so that goes into a Fender Twin, but it's the Tone Master Twin,
Okay.
because I got tired of carrying around that heavy ass tube.
They are very heavy. I've got one.
Yeah, and you should check out these Tone Masters. They
Yeah.
are ridiculous. They're
Oh,
half
yeah.
the weight, and they're just like, it sounds. I can't tell. I can't tell,
Yeah, for sure.
especially when you're running all that shit through it. So I can't tell at all.
Is this carpet the carpet on the floor of your
Yes.
practice
It
room?
is. Yeah, it's
I
so
thought
It
might
is.
it's so fluffy and nice. I just want to lie down on it. I just want to take my shoes off and get comfortable. It's nice and plush.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing some of your gear there with us. Do you have anything in the pipes? Like, what's next for you guys?
We got some shows.
We do have a couple of shows lined up. We're playing at Terra Firmata next Friday, the 20th.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, we're playing with Billy Doom is Dead is opening up for us.
They're a great band. They
Yeah.
were here a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys talked about.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time for that.
Yeah.
And then we're playing Will's Pub on the 29th.
Up in
Nice.
Orlando.
Yep, in Orlando. And Matthews Brewing in Lake Worth
Yeah.
on February 17th.
Excellent.
With Sandman Sleeps and Billy Doom is Dead and my other band, Gargantua Tarantula.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like quite the show.
Yeah, it's
I've
gonna
got to
be
try
fun.
and get myself out of some of these. The problem is I'm always playing, but
Yeah.
like, you know.
That's always a problem.
I
You're always
know.
on tour. Like I mean, how many shows have you missed when you were touring constantly?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that would come in, and you'd be like, "Oh, I wish I could go to that show." Oh, cool. I'll be
Yeah,
somewhere else.
exactly. Be in Azerbaijan, yeah. No, it happens to me all the time. It's irritating. But then, you know, it's a privilege problem. You know, it's like I love playing.
Yeah,
so-
but then you think
Yeah.
about the shows that you got to see because you were on tour.
Right.
Yeah.
Kinda-
Or we got to play even, or the
Yeah.
bands you got to play with.
You don't think it evens out. It probably evens out more than you think.
Yeah.
Oh, especially on the festivals. The amount of bands I've seen at festivals when I've been playing, is just staggering.
Yeah, right.
Especially like Reading and Leeds. Because at the time I was really into rock and punk, and Reading and Leeds just used to have everyone who was a thing. It was such great festivals. I don't know if it was necessarily the best vibe of a festival, because it was a bit like aggro-y kind of, but the bands are just awesome every year. And so one of the things I miss about being in Sonic Boom 6 is festival season.
Right.
Because we used to play so many. We've started doing it with Killbillies now. We started playing the odd festival. Bluegrass Festival's a little bit of a different deal there. We're not necessarily in a bad way. In fact, not in a bad way at all. They're really chill.
Yeah,
nice.
right.
But, so what have we got coming up? We've got on Friday we're playing at Walking Tree Brewery in Vero.
Nice.
From 7 to 10. And then on Saturday we were playing at Tiki 52 in Sequester, which is round the corner from my house. I could literally walk there from 6:30 to 10:30. And I think that is the sum total of our weekend. So please do me a favor and reach out through the tendrils and vibes to Hector and see if you can get him to feel better. I personally need him to be better. He plays the bass in my band.
Well, there you go.
So it'd be greatly appreciated if everyone could sort of team up and send some kind of like bright rainbows to him to make him feel better. And so this podcast is we don't make money out of doing it. So if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, that's really, really helpful for us because it helps us get further up in the algorithms, and it'll get us to a point where we can monetize it. And if you go on our website, which is it's 561music.com, there is like a place on there where you can donate to it, and we'd really appreciate that. All the money just goes into making it better. And we're putting a festival on April 1st, which actually I might have a conversation with you guys about and see if you're around at that time. We're putting on a festival April 1st at Matthews, actually.
Oh, nice.
Called 561 Music Festival. And so we're working up to that. So any money that comes our way is just really going to be put towards the festival at this point. So you can find us at 561 Music Podcast on YouTube. 561music.com is our website, and then we're on all the socials and everything. 561 Music Podcast. So if you've made it this far, though, I suspect you may already have done all those things, and if you have, then thank you very much. And Lybica, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks for having us here.
Yeah,
it's been fun.
All right, guys. See you later.
All right.